Howdy, folks. Welcome to the live. I am glad that people are stopping by. It was a good Sunday school. Barry was the guest there. I'm looking forward to hear 2 Sundays from now, April 26th, to be their guest. It is I'm going to say spring is here in Missouri, but unfortunately, we are in our wet season and I would love to do this live outside. I'm hoping we'll get some nice days before we hit the hot summer months of Missouri that I can go outside and actually do the live stream. But unfortunately, it is way too windy and now it is rainy. And we're going to our second season of spring called Nader season. And of course, this week here in Missouri, and I'm sure pretty much most of the Midwest is under a chance of severe storms, especially the central and southern plains of the United States. So, batten down the hatches. And unfortunately, I'm also go on call tomorrow. Normally, this is the week that I go on call for work and I go off call, but my tech is going to Kentucky to drive a Lamborghini on a track. And the only time he can be able to do it was during the weekend. So a few months ago, I made that switch and he decided he's going to go. So tomorrow I go on call. Yay! Batten down the hatches, and here comes the Naders. Let's go say hi to a few people here. First one come in is Rick. Rick, the hello Quackers. Yes. How many ducks have you saw today on your bike ride? If you made a bike ride today, one thing about it is the ducks that Rick always liked is those Muscovies. And I remember I had a friend that had a Muscovies. Those are great ducks. They're really great around your place because not only you can feed them duck food and fatten them up and make delicious supper out of them, they also will take care of all the bugs around your property, especially ticks. And here in Missouri, we have a big issue with that. Second one come in, Thomas, Target Prime Rib came in, and thank you for coming in today. Jiffy said, hello, Kelly and all. Well, welcome to the channel. And here is George. Welcome. Greetings from across the pond. I am glad that you stopped by. I know it's getting late over there in England, and I'm actually looking forward that you came here today, be a big support. And one thing about it is I'm so grateful that I've got to meet a great group of friends in this community throughout Kilts, Healing Humanity, and just our small channels that we have with Rick, his live on Saturday mornings. We have the Kilts meetup. That's where most of us met. Some of us has met in person. Like I met Jerry and Montello when I went to the Montello meetup for Healing Humanity. Got to meet Dr. Nelson, Dr. Kilts, Adam Lacey, Carrie Mann, Jen Mann, Carrie and Jen's daughters, and Adam Lacey, Coach Lisa Pickard, Dr. Tony Hampton, and Lisa, she's midlife carnivore, I believe. I can't remember. I had a great conversation. We had the dinner there before everybody departed. Her husband, we had a great conversation. And then Sherry Lynn, 74. Good afternoon. I'm glad you stopped by today. Here's Mrs. Good Enough, Laney. Glad you stopped by. Thank you for stopping there. And Jerry said, woo, she made it. Alicia, it's hard to pronounce, but A Mason 3, Y3I. Hello there. Hey, it's Dan from New York. Hey, Dan, how's it going? I watched your live stream this morning. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, Rick said, yes, at least you're getting rain. Yes, we were in drought. We had some severe drought, but with some of the rain, we had some snow, all that, and especially this last week, a lot of rain. But I think we're going to fix it in the way they're predicting that we are going to get what they call a super El Nino, which it'll start getting dry here. And where a lot of places that got winter is not going to get winter the next winter. It doesn't mean we get cold, but it seems like most of the South will get most of the rain and the storms and stuff throughout the winter. I don't know how they predict this. All I know is Mother Nature can be bipolar. I think sometimes that she needs to be on carnivore. Maybe she'll level out, but that's one thing you can't predict. Let's see. And Rick says, no rain yet, and the Muscovies is eating anything. Yeah, that's one thing about it is I like this morning, I go to church, and I always go to the 10 a.m. service, and we have two services where I go to church at. But some reason when I got home from Dollar General last night, because I needed to get some stuff from Dollar General, like especially dish soap and some other items, that I was doing an upcoming animal-based video for an awesome low-carb ketovore, almost carnivore animal base, because I guess if we say for us, we'll say if you're 70% or more, you're carnivore or keto, other than that, you're ketovore. But I wanted to, someone commented on my last video, not the video that just came out today with the chicken tenders, but the chicken nuggets. And they mentioned something about, is there any dips, carnivore dips? And it got my wheels rolling. And I used to eat ranch. I used to like ranch, but I will not eat ranch anymore, not the store-bought ranch. And when I went keto, I have a ranch recipe, but I hadn't made that in a while. But I will not eat ranch from the store or restaurants because of the seed oils and all the other stuff in it. So I am actually going to experiment. I'm going to make a ranch dip. Like, you can dip pork rinds, chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, your meat cookies, meat candy. Boy, that dehydrated bacon is delicious. I did some Friday night, 3 pounds of it, and I'm already got half of it ate. That stuff is like candy. Matter of fact, I like it better than candy. Alyssa says, Jerry, we are gathered again. Yeah, this is like the third time. We went from Carnivore Sunday School to Jerry's live to now my live. And then we're all going to go right after this. We're going to go to Doug and Juliet, and we're all going to be there again. And then later on, we are going to go prime time with Amy with her interview with Butter Bob. Excuse me. I think, if make sure you all are ready for that, because I am looking forward to the interview with Butter Bob, and it's pretty awesome that I never even knew Bob existed. I think some of us even knew Bob existed until, and I never knew he existed. He started before this became a fad, and a fad or a tradition, or say a new way of eating. And what actually, it's not really a new way of eating. It's actually a way we were really meant to eat. And even though we're technically omnivores, but most of us are fat. We got most of our fat from our natural, wherever our ancestral range. Like for me, I'm just going to say I'm a Heinz 57 when it comes to my ancestral. Not only that, I have an eighth of indigenous people from a tribe, I believe somewhere in Ohio area, that's Native Americans, because my grandma is quarter Native on my mom's side. My mom and her sisters are eighth Native, and some of us cousins are 16th of Native. And sometimes, like if for me in the summertime, I get that reddish tan color on my skin. So that's one thing about it is like you can tell if you have Native in you, and some people don't. But like for me, I have a cousin. She also, when she tans, she's like that reddish brownish tint, just like the natives do. And not only that, with European scent, I have English, Dutch, French, German, Wales. So I call myself a Heinz 57. So most time is if you based off of your diet, more of your ancestral, that you pretty much is going to survive. And the way we ate, we always cooked on, it was always steel We always cooked with fire with wood. We always used cast iron or some kind of forged steel. Most of the time, it's probably cast iron. Even when you go way back, if you go to the Bible and you look, even though you see the diseases, you see that stuff in the Old Testament where they have leprosy, they have skin diseases and stuff like that, where they're declared unclean. If you look, they even ate bread. So, but the one thing is different from them, from us, is we live in a forever chemical. We live around pesticides, glyphosate, all that. Where, my water supply is surrounded by farms, big farmlands where they use glyphosate, pesticides, herbicides, and stuff like that. All the tributaries that runs off to that lake goes right into that lake, and our water source goes there. So one of these days, my goal is I'm going to save money to get a whole house filtration system. I'll probably eventually, what I'm going to do is get a drinking water system that's a little bit cheaper that I can mount underneath my sink so I can have water. But other than that, I have to deal with what I deal with now, because it is hard to buy that kind of stuff, especially if you get a whole house filtration. It's not cheap. And for me, I'd have to go underneath the house. I have to run the lines. I have to find a place to put it. And I have a manufactured home, AKA double wide, that you don't have much space. I mean, I could put it in the actual closet where the furnace and water heater is, right above the water heater, but still, I still have to drill holes. I have to be careful. And sometimes it is cheaper. And I've been drinking this water for 14 years. Doesn't mean that something can happen, but also I haven't got affected yet, so I'll probably still be drinking it. But the one thing I will not do after the city of Columbia, Missouri, where I work at, is not work with the city, but I work for an apartment community in Columbia, Missouri, called Tiger Village Apartments. They are managed by Mills Properties, and I'll pull it up and show you where I work at, show the apartments and stuff like that. And sometimes they'll accidentally push the wrong button, put too much chemicals in, and our water ends up turning yellow. And we had that happen. And after the second time, I said, nope, I'm done. I'd rather deal with the microplastics in the bottled water because I don't want to deal with extra chemicals. So I do drink bottled water at work, but it's only certain waters I will drink, and it's got to be spring water. I will not drink Aquafina. I will not drink Dasani. I will not drink purified water because that stuff tastes horrible in those plastic bottles, even after they're cold. Now, if I'm very thirsty and I will need something to drink, that's a different story. But other than that, no, I'd rather deal with the city water than some of that bottled water that is sold. All right. Melissa is saying hello to Rick, Milton, Miss Kitty. Hey, look here. Hey, Lance, I'm glad you stopped by today. Lance also has a YouTube channel. He has a live, I believe, right after Dr. Kiltz on Sunday. Make sure if you are watching Kiltz on Sunday, make sure you go right to Lance. And also make sure you go to Carnivore, or Dan's, because he had a live stream this morning. It was really good. He had a guest that was Girl Gone Carnivore, and be sure to check their channels out and make sure you subscribe to them. Rick, have you located your grand kittens yet? We'll find out. Let's see. People saying hello. Rick says, the El Nino year should mean more rain. Yeah, that's the way it looked like. For the southern part of the U.S., especially the southeast and Florida, it looks like there's more rain for you all, because I know Florida, they're calling that y'all are in a severe drought, like major drought. Like you are needing rain. Texas needing rain. I know Texas and some parts of the Midwest and South Central Plains, have rain, that did get some ruts rain and much needed rain. But I know, like, we could use the rain. I'm not going to complain, because I know when we have an El Nino, we tend to get drier. And if it's a super El Nino, we may not get hardly any snow here in Missouri. We may get some cold. We may get a little snow. The last time we had an El Nino, or before we went to El Nino, we did not have one single drop of snowflake at all. No ice or nothing. Let's see. Rick says, I guess you do not make your own. So I don't know if he's talking about. Oh, he must be talking about. Not yet. I have not got to that point yet. That is one of the things that I'm going to work on. And actually, I am actually going to learn how to build boxes, and I'm going to learn how to make my own soap. I buy the beast mode, and I know it gets pretty pricey. I buy where I can get a discount on it. And then what I do is, to keep from describing that, I undo it. But yes, my goal is to make my own soap. What I was talking about was dish soap, because I ran out of dish soap and I need to go to Dollar General. Now I do not use on my body anymore. If I make my own deodorant, I will not use store-bought body wash or shampoo. I use natural soap, but one of my goals is to make soap. And on my second channel, the Show Me Homesteader, which I'm hoping here soon, I got video ideas on that, and my goal is to build boxes. And that might be one of my videos while I'm off work and while I'm off recovering for hip surgery, where I can be gentle and where I can sit. Yeah, I may have the stuff cut, may have the boards and stuff cut, but my goal is maybe sit down in my shop. Someone bring me up to the shop, and where I can build the actual soap boxes, stuff like that. But yes, my goal is to get the soap, where I can just use either buy the tallow, or I'll probably just buy the lard, and even the lard that you buy at Walmart and stuff for soap. It's better than what I'd rather have regular rendered lard or tallow. I know the industrial lard, they do partially hydrogenated for, I guess, shelf stabilization, but at least it is better than using Dial soap or Irish Spring or any of the body washes that has chemicals in it. I don't even use like your Native or Everyman's Jack. I use the basic beast mode right now, but yes, to save a lot of money, my goal is to make soap. And I'm sure that I'm sure, Rick, you make a dish soap also, but also I got some dish soap also because I'm getting ready to do a video on, if you look in my on my Missouri Carnivore channel, you'll see that around Labor Day, after Labor Day, I think you'll see me that I was clearing trees in the barn lot. Well, one thing about mulberry trees, they like to shoot up fast, and it's like they're like wildfire. And I got to make me some concoction to kill the shoots before they grow up, and I have to do this all over again. So I am going to be doing a video on making a natural spray, natural weed killer, natural brush killer, because I know rock salt, table salt, which this is where the cheap table salt is great for it, vinegar, and dish soap, where I'm making a concoction to kill this stuff so they won't grow back. And the problem I have is like, I am nowhere near mulberry trees, and I don't know how these things grow. I know when I was brush hogging the property, I saw some trees out in the middle of the field, and it's like, where in the world does these trees come from? And the only thing is probably from birds. Yeah, you're right. Store ranch is not for Jerry. Yes, I will not eat that junk anymore. Jerry says, yes, that's Butter Bob's interview will be epic tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I'm glad that Butter Bob is actually going to the smaller channels, because I know Bob, I guess he was here about 9-10 years ago, and all of a sudden he disappeared. I didn't even know he exists. I didn't even know that, people were doing this carnivore way of life and stuff. I was back in the standard diet and low carb, whatever worked, calorie deficit, stuff like that. And I didn't really go discover the keto carnivore world until 2021. And I saw keto recipes and stuff like that. But the one thing about carnivore for me, this way of eating, is this is the first time, even though I gained a little bit of weight, I'm actually slendering back down. The weight's not going down as fast, but I have lost probably almost 6 pounds from it. But like the inches are going down, and so I'm happy with it. This is the first time that I was actually more stable on keeping my weight down. I never fell off. And matter of fact, usually with the keto, I fell off because I discovered the keto treats and the keto cookies and the keto breads a year later. And but the things is when you see keto, you don't understand until you don't understand that stuff until you really understand it's not keto. They just sell it. It's just the money maker's way they do it. And Rick says, I have been talking about Butter Bob for many years. Yeah, I didn't know Butter Bob existed until all of a sudden people said, Butter Bob is back. Butter Bob is like, who's Butter Bob? Who is Butter Bob? And then when I went to his channel, I'm like, okay. When I saw butter makes your pants fall off, I'm like, interesting. And so I'm glad that he's back. I know that Bob had kind of slipped. The thing is you got to realize that sometimes, even though, we may be on this way, but life gets in the way, life changes and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden we slip, and he's back, and he is already working his way back through. He's making a tremendous community with it. He's making his he's contributed to the community. And it's just amazing that he went from, 18,000 subscribers to he got over 100,000. And that's just amazing. And just simply just coming back. And hold on 1 minute. I'll be right back. I got to turn on the fan. It is hot in here. All right, I'm back. I thought I had the ceiling fan on, but it was off. Let's see. George said today has been Grandma Corner's Kilch Coat. He says today has been Grandma Crochet Corner, Kilts, Coach, Stephen Thomas, Sunday School, Jerry, and now he's talking about me. I am about to run out of energy. I bet. I know you probably, of course, you're probably what's for me. This is if it's 4:24 Eastern time, it's 3:24 here in the central part of the U.S. I say it's 8, 9 o'clock over there at England, because I don't know how many hours apart that England is from the East Coast. And then question for Rick: who created the recipe for the first heart attack chicken, Butter Bob or Rick? I wonder. I bet Rick did back in probably about 40 years ago when he started the carnivore diet, because of he wanted to have a heart attack and realized that it made a difference in his life. And then Lance says, Kelly, check out Carnivore Companion Seasonings. Carnivore Chef Reed has some really good carnivore seasonings. Jalapeno ranch seasoning mix is in sour cream is amazing. I'm gonna have to check that out, Lance. Thanks for I'm gonna take a picture of that before I move on. That's actually a good idea, because right now I just use regular spices, and that's a good idea, because I know pluck can be pretty pricey, and I would like to try pluck, but I don't know if I want to pay the price. So that's why I stick with the regular seasonings and garlic powder, onion powder. Where's my camera? Let me take a picture of that, so that way I have it. Yeah, thanks for the tip there, Abby. That will be that's definitely. Let's see. They must be talking amongst themselves. Jerry says, I love Reed too, Lance. Reed too. And then Lance says, Jerry Reed has some great recipes on his channel. I love his seasonings. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check his channel out. All right. Rick says, y'all are like Mitch, living in a trailer. Yep, that's me. I've been living here since the home was put in 2015. And actually, before that, I was actually living at home 11 years before that in another town called just north of Columbia, Missouri, called Hallsville. And that's where my children's mom, that's where she grew up. I was married there, and then we moved here, and then of course things happen and we're no longer together, but I ended up with the house, and so I've been here for probably, this will be 11, and of course the divorce is now, it's going to be 10 years this year. So I've been living in a trailer. So the good news is if I have to evacuate my home, my mother's right next door, the main house with a basement. And so no matter what, I don't have to worry about it. I have a weather radio. So if that weather radio goes off, I have it set to where it goes off the counties that's close to Randolph County, Missouri. Once it goes off, we head out, and that way it's quicker. I got to do some cleaning on my mom's garage. My truck is, good thing is it is in the shop up there, the big shop. It's sitting inside out of the sun. So I haven't drove it in a while, and I actually wanted to drive it, and I hadn't got a chance. I should have got it out this weekend, but I got pretty busy trying to make that video. The video didn't turn out as the way I planned. The video turned out pretty good, but what I wanted to cook, the chicken tenders, it did not come out right. So I ended up having to do another cooking method. So I'm actually going to, someone mentioned, and I didn't have this problem with the pork panko coming off like that. So I don't know if it was the marinade or if the marinade's probably nothing wrong with it, but I made it need to do the egg wash because I did fried tenderloin sandwich. I did a video on that. I never had any problems, but I also was looking back, and I believe I had the oil way too hot because I was looking at the video. I'm like, that pan is smoking. So there's some redos. And so I am going to do some testing, experiment, and then I am going to redo the video, but I'm going to do the heart attack style of these chicken tenders. And so yeah, I'm going to do some experimenting. It kind of went kaploop, and some of the breading came off, and so it didn't work out quite as well, but it did work pretty decent. Once I got into the air fryer, I cooled it off to 375 in the air fryer, and I used parchment paper on the bottom. The actual breading stayed on, but the purpose of us is we want to have a heart attack. I know Rick has been trying for it for 40 years, and he's still waiting for it. And one thing about it is when you had chicken, if some of us had chicken strips on the standard diet or fried chicken on the standard diet, it was about the fried in deep fat fry. And a lot of us, like when I grew up, a lot of times I ate the fried chicken. It was in lard, especially when I went to my grandparents. My grandma always cooked it in lard. My grandfather, they always cooked it in lard. So it was a lot different. And something about greasy fried chicken that tastes so good. And when you have breast meat is usually dry. And when you put it in, when you have it in, do it heart attack style, it makes it a lot moist. So I'm going to redo the tender things, the heart attack style. Once it is I am going to redo a video on it, just doing the fry, and share that with y'all. And Lance says, thank you, because I mentioned his channel. And Rick says the kittens are still hidden. So he still hasn't found Miss Kitty's children yet, or as I joke around with my children, because there's special delicacy that is primarily in the South or certain, parts of the country. It's a country dish. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm not one of them. It's called chitlins. So I usually joke around with my kids and say, okay, chitlins. And so he hadn't found Miss Chitlins yet. So no grandkitties. And then Jerry said, Dan has a great voice. Yes, he is. It is awesome. And if you haven't checked out his channel, Carnivore Podcast, Carnivore Lions Podcast, I believe that's what it is. Please check it out. Subscribe to it. Let's show him some love. Let's get him boosted up there because he has some great lives. He had a great one this morning. And then Jerry said, Lance, I just subbed to your channel and rang the notification. Yes, I did the same thing. I forgot Lance had a channel, and so I went ahead and did that this morning. Oh, yes, he says, yes, I make dish soap too. Yeah, I want to learn how to make that because I know how to make the actual laundry detergent. I have made that before, but I definitely want to learn how to make dish soap because one thing about it is you can save a lot of money by making your own soap because I want to say, I'm going to give an example. Beast Mode soap, yes, it's a great soap, but it can be pretty pricey. I buy a 2-pack for around 20 something. And yes, it lasts me for a while, but the thing is like you can get lard or tallow for almost the same price, a 7-pound bucket. And I got tallow. I did order some tallow just yesterday, and I got it cheaper through Brookshire than I did with Amazon. Amazon wanted almost $50 for the same tallow that I had, and the tallow lasts me a long time. So I'll go through the tallow, but they also had rendered lard too. And it was like $34. I got a discount on it. And so that it's a lot cheaper, even though you get the better quality, but still, even if you use the cheaper lard, like the Armor lard that you buy at Walmart or your grocery store, if you're making soap out of it and stuff like that, it's still better than your chemical soaps in the health and beauty aisle. And there's Amy. Amy said hello to me. Lance says hello to Amy. Everybody's saying hello back. I am making my dad keto meals, but trying to get him off the sad diet. I am making the meals with whole ingredients. Absolutely. I feel that it doesn't matter whatever works. And one thing about it is this way of eating, no matter what, if you are vegan, vegetarian, omnivore, whole food, animal-based, ketovore, paleo and stuff, whatever works for you, do it. I know the one thing about for me that's sustainable, and I don't take like the supplements like I used to. The only supplements I take is I take a fish oil, and it's a cod liver oil I take. I take a magnesium complex at night before I go to bed. It's like 500 milligrams. I do the Luger's, 2% Luger's iodine, 1 a day. I do 10,000 units of vitamin D3 with the K2, and I also do zinc because that's the zinc, the magnesium, and the K2 with the vitamin D3. That was recommended about 6 years ago when I discovered Dr. Barry. He said that was a good recommendation, especially if you are trying to boost your testosterone naturally for free. It was a free advice, and I feel better today. Even when I went keto, I felt better. The only thing about me that keto wasn't sustainable and what I think keto hurt me in the long run is I was not aware of the oxalates, the phytonutrients, the poisons, the arsenic stuff, the seeds, all that stuff I think built up. And I know that my joints got stiff. When I discovered the keto treats, when I started slipping off a little bit and I get back on, it seems like I could never, ever get back in my weight slowly. And I was starting to get depressed. I was starting to get hurt. That's why I gave Carnivore a try. And Carnivore so far was the best for me. It was sustainable. I never had any problems. I never cheated. And if I cheated, it wasn't with with like standard diet. I didn't eat any. I don't even eat desserts. I can't even stand sugar or anything that's sweet, especially when it comes to toothpaste or when it comes to when I had my teeth cleaned last Monday, a week ago Monday. I went to the dentist for my general checkup, and shoot, I'd rather just let them just clean my teeth with the pick and then polish them without the polish, or do some like lard or baking soda, because that polish they had was so sweet. It made me gag. It made me almost sick to my stomach. It was so nasty sweet. And so I don't eat much sugar. Like time to time, the only thing I might have is honey. I don't even do the monk fruit or allulose anymore. I stay away from that stuff. And I don't even care to even have much honey. I may take some butter, some pork rinds, and maybe just a little drizzle, a few pieces, and that's it. And I'm good for months. And like Kiltz's ice cream, when I make it after I get off this live stream, it'll just have vanilla in it, and I'm fine with it. And yes, absolutely, lard makes you lean. That's probably why my grandpa stayed lean for years. Rick said Butterbob was the first to show how to cook lard fried chicken. Interesting. Rick said, I hate ceiling fans. I hate working on them at work because whoever installed them when they did the upgrades back in the beginning when Mills first took over, they did a horrible job of installing them. They had to take half of them down. Some of them I even had to cut to find the actual ceiling joist or the floor joist or the roof joist, whatever floor I was on, and hoping that I can actually move that box to stabilize it. And then I had to do a medallion, and they still, and no matter what, these fans that wherever they got them from are just pure junk. The screws keep on falling out. And of course, you have to tilt the fan blades to get a good fan to slow them down. Otherwise, they shake violently. So yeah, at work, I hate ceiling fans, but here I don't mind them at home. But the only thing is they are big dust collectors. Let's see. Rick says probably time apart's like 5 hours, because here's George. It's 5 hours ahead of Eastern time. It's 9:25 there. Ooh, yeah, that's about would be my. And then Rick said, "Pluck the duck." And Helix says, "Awesome, just got home. Well, welcome to the channel." Living in a trailer on a lot is a lot better than an apartment. Absolutely. There's no way I'd live in an apartment. I lived 1 year in an apartment. I tried it. This was 1999. I wasn't even that was the year I probably turned 21. And you can hear your neighbors. You never know what critters you're going to get from your neighbors, because they may bring something there, or they're not very clean. And so that's the one thing about it is, and of course, me working in apartments, I see it all. And that's one thing about it is like, yeah, even when I had to stay overnight, sometimes I will, if I get a late night call, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll end up just staying. I'll go sleep in the model apartment, or if I have to stay over, you can hear your neighbors, you can hear the streets, you can hear the sirens. And I rather just go. That's why I like living where I am, out in the country, quiet, peacefulness. The only noisy thing we have around here is our neighbors' cows, or our neighbor's donkey that bellers every day. So I'd rather deal with that than honking horns and busy traffic and all that stuff. Rick said, I worked years ago for someone who moved and set up mobile homes. It's interesting how today I didn't get to see this one get set up because I was at work, but like the anchoring system on this home is way different than the anchoring systems that they used to use, and how they put this. Usually I don't know how they used to put the homes together, especially a double wide, but they had an actual machine that lifted it up and it was remote control, and they will shove the two halves together. And then on the opposite side, normally it used to be straps, and you had anchors that's in the ground, which even if you had a tornado, it was just going to pull it up anyway. The strapping, that's how they used to do it, and they used to have a strap up and over the home as well. Usually it's built in. Well, these new homes today, like my home is actually set up for Minnesota weather, so it's supposed to withstand Wisconsin and Minnesota weather easily. And this home also does not have strapping material or anchors. It has an anchoring system that is on the opposite end, each end of my halves. Like the half that my office where I'm at is on the west end, and then my bathroom, the anchoring system is on that end, and it's some kind of bracing that they anchor to the piers, and that's how they anchor. That's how they do a lot of the anchor. Now, I don't know about the single wides. Oh, here, Rick says, the heart attack is coming. Rick says, use chicken breast to make coronary cluckers. I can't that. And I'm having Carnivore on in a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. Rick says, I make soap from my used frying fats. Oh, look here. Our favorite YouTuber, our favorite speculator, Sandy. Glad you stopped by. Thanks for coming. She is a dedicated fan to us. She is at Rick's. She is with me. She watches my channel. She goes to Kilts. I see her there. We're like a happy family. I think she is kind of like our carnivore mama here. Lance says, my wife and I love Kilts' ice cream. I made it last year when I saw Dr. Kilts, one of his ice cream, I'm like, he's talking about it. I'm like, I'm going to have to make this. So I went and bought that exact ice cream maker. And of course, the first time I done this, I wasn't aware that you have to turn the machine on, then pour it in. I poured in the equipment and I had a problem. Luckily, I poured it out, I melted it, and found out that you had to start the machine up, then pour it in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to churn the ice cream. But it turned out awesome. Gary says, to the ice cream, me too. We used to use RX sugar, allulose, and cinnamon. It's all good. See. I can't pronounce it. JSHKS. Or okay, person's from Kansas. Well, welcome to the channel. They said I got my supper in the oven. And then he said, I want to live in the middle of nowhere in a thick forest, so thick you can't tell. I have lights in on my house at night, type of woods with 200 head of free range cows. Amen. Absolutely. People saying hello. Thomas said, getting tired. He's going to go take a nap. Well, I'm glad you stopped by, Thomas. Sandy says, sorry I'm so late. No was napping. It's all right. It looks like I'm already at the end of the comments. And so one thing about for me is I am beyond grateful where I live. And last week I was at church, and of course it was the Easter service. I think I talked a little bit about this, but I was standing, I was greeted. And of course, our church is a young church, And our church is named Redeemer Church, Moberly, Missouri. We do have, I'm going to switch up here. See, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to get this off. I'm going to go here. The one reason why I like
Easter is here.
Here's the reason why that I keep on going back, because when you hear the pastor speak, this is this is Pastor Cole. He has been there as the pastor. Matter of fact, him and his wife was called to start a church in Moberly, Missouri, and they started in 2018. And we had it held there at the municipal auditorium.
That it was about Jesus coming back.
But I'll give you a little bit of the message why I really like it.
To be honest with you. But I thought it was really interesting. And I'm not saying these things to pick on culture. Please don't hear any judgment in these statements. I love a good Easter egg hunt too. But here's the reality, guys. When I, as a kid, looked at Easter, here's what I knew. It was a day where a lot of people got dressed up and they went into churches. A lot of them didn't normally go to church, and they celebrated a risen Savior. I didn't know what a Savior was, but I didn't know what happened in those places. I didn't go to church. And so what I knew was somehow in the grand scheme of God and the Son Jesus, there was a bunny. And this bunny was a big deal, right? And I'm not making light of this. This is really, think about 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old Cole. This is what I knew. There was a bunny. And this bunny was powerful, because this bunny hid eggs. But bunnies don't lay eggs. I knew that much. And so I thought, this is a special type of bunny. It's a magic bunny. And what I knew was there were kids all over that were having these Easter egg hunts. I didn't go to an Easter egg hunt. I might have done one as a little kid, but I don't remember them. I didn't go to Easter egg hunts every the world break their legs. And I think most of us in here probably know the answer. If you don't, I want to tell you why. Because here's what actually happened on a cross. You did not die normally because of blood loss or the infliction of pain. What actually happened when you were hanging on that cross is because you were enduring such hardship and your body was hanging off of stakes through your arms and through your legs. You would slow.
That's one thing I like about it. If you heard bits and pieces, like even he was talking about his, growing up, he actually, he was talking about how this is how he learned, but over time it changed. But if you ever get a chance, check out Redeemer Moberly on YouTube. You will have some great sermons. That was our Easter sermon. And as if you want to watch that, you can watch that whole thing. It was one that I was interested, but I had to leave early because we had a family dinner to go to at noon, and I really wanted to get into it. So I'm going to have to get the replay on that. But what I was talking about is like, we talk about all these meetups we're going to, and I was so excited going to meetup and to Montel, and got to meet Jerry. And this year I'm so super excited. I'm going to Keto Palooza in October because I am going to make sure that I am ready to drive to Kentucky by then, if after this hip surgery, because my goal is to looking forward. I have to listen to the doctor, but I am looking forward to Keto Palooza and having fun. I may be walking with a cane, but that's okay. I'm there to have fun. I'm there to be with my friends. That's Amy. And I know Dustin was supposed to be there from Keto Simple, Jerry, and a few others that we all are together here through our channels. And I am looking forward to that time. And then, But while I was standing and greeting there, we met at the auditorium because we have a building, and it's an old Doctors Park building that we converted into, classrooms for one end and fellowship hall on the other. But we still meet at a theater called 4th Street Theater in Moberly, Missouri. But since the theater to have one combined service with everybody because the two services we meet at the municipal auditorium. Well, I'm standing in front of the municipal auditorium as I'm eating, and my wheels started spinning, and my wheels was spinning. It's like, you know what? We can have a great meal. I have places here in Moberly that I can probably see what the cost is to rent, that we can have a meetup. There are several places. So let me, I'm going to go to Google Earth. Let me go here. And this is Moberly right here. I'm going to zoom in. And as I was going, we have several places that we can have a meetup here in Missouri. And I'll show you one of the places. This is where we actually had, there we go. This is the municipal auditorium. This is where we had our Easter service at. And I was sitting there on the front, opening that door, and my wheels were turning. And I'm like, we can have this is a potential place. Let me back out where we meet for church. This is where we meet for church every Sunday, 2 services. Library's right across. This is called the 4th Street Theater. I remember before they built they call it the Moberly 5 and Drive. This was a movie theater when I was a kid and when I was a teenager. This is where I watched my very first movie, Forrest Gump, in theaters. This is where I watched it at. And they went in and they redone the whole theater. They gutted it. It's all brand new inside, and it looks really nice. I mean, there is a potential where you can have a meetup. And then one more place. Let me zoom out. Moberly, Missouri was actually a big railroad town. And if anybody is familiar, especially to the east, especially, the east of the Mississippi, the Wabash Railroad back in the 50s and the 60s, and then the NW, North Fork and Western. My dad started on the Wabash Railroad in 1959, and then when they merged with NW, and Wabash and NW merged and ended up being a takeover, on that. And of course, Moberly grew to be a big railroad town. That's how Moberly grew. And this was this is still a train yard, but it's not as big. But they used to have the engine shops, the steam shops, everything. This was humongous. And they had the roundhouse, they had everything. And so they had a lot of jobs here. But as over time goes, the railroad, they moved the division over to Decatur, Illinois. And of course, my dad got hurt in 86. And I was almost going to follow his footsteps to do the railroad, but he was saying as the railroad is changing, so I'm like, no, I will say I am not going to do it. So I'll show you another place that would be an awesome place to have a meetup. This is our park here. And right over here, they call it the Riley Pavilion, but over here is also, they got a lodge. And this would be a great, especially in the nice time of the year, you can have a great meetup here. And It'd been great, but the one thing that also kind of got me to say, well, Moberly does not have but one or two hotels. I don't know what the reviews on them, but then I'm like, wait a minute, we have Columbia, Missouri, and we have Macon, so we have hotels, and Columbia is only 30 miles to the south of Moberly, and so my wheels are turning. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to get some prices, and I know Juliet would be excited to hear this hear this that yeah, I'm going to try to plan a Missouri meetup. I am so ready for the Missouri meetup, and I know a few of y'all here would say I would definitely come to it. And I know that I got to know some more people that was from Missouri that subscribed to my channel. They also I know I met in person. There's another one. Her name is Becky, Jesus and Carnivore. I met her in person at the Montello meetup along with Jerry. Then we have Juliet from Springfield. We have Helix that lives from Kansas City. I know there was another one from Kansas City that I seen on Kiltz's. And then I kind of met another one that she has a co-op down there just north of Popular Bluff, or they call it the Bluff, but Popular Bluff, Missouri, in southeast Missouri, in the Ozarks part of it. Her name is Ivy. So so we have a few Missouri people, and I know Laura Russell is just on the other side of the river, from Quincy and Hannibal. No, she's over there, so we could have a nice little meetup here. And so I'm hoping that my goal is to have a meetup, see if we can get Dr. Kiltz, maybe Dr. Nelson, see, and then I'm going to try to get some prices. I know it's for me, I'm busy with this farm, that I'm dealing with work and have to take care of my children. It's a busy life, but I think it'll be worth it. And of course, and as Amy says here, I can't wait to meet you. I'm looking forward to having fun there. I may be with a cane, but you know what? It's not about that. I'm looking forward to this next journey. See how well Carnivore heals. Right now, I'm doing much as I can. With my diet, I do a high fat, and I do at least minimum of 6,000 steps. I will walk around. This is we're starting to ramp up at work. We're getting into the busy season, and we will be getting out AC drain pans. We'll be dumping them Monday through Friday. So in the summertime, I get minimum of 10,000 or more steps in. Of course, it's nice here. I'll see more work. Only thing I do is I'll go do whatever that, sit down for a little bit, go and I'll go again. I'll sit a little bit, but the problem I have is I have limited mobility, especially internal rotation, and I'm still going to do these exercises. My big issue is being motivated to do these exercises, and they do help. And they don't have to be much. I'm not, I don't have to do this or this or this. And I know some people suggested, just go do physical therapy. I did physical therapy, but the problem is some of those exercises help, but I don't think it pinpointed that issue. But there's some that I did find, I saved them, and they do help a little bit. But no matter what, I'm still scheduled to do this surgery. If all of a sudden something changed, I can cancel it. But as of right now, most likely it is probably damaged due to a fall. As a lot of times I laugh about it because I know Rick mentioned not too long ago. He says, I don't know how he messaged I saw a comment said, I don't know how you walk with a bad hip. Well, the thing is like before Carnivore, I was in so much pain. Not only that I had my knees, and I can still, when I do squats or I bend down on the left side, I can hear the squishing and the crunching and all that from the left knee. So I had arthritis in that knee, my left ankle, because of the discrepancy thing I have, because I do have a lift and I walk better with that lift. But the only thing I hate about that lift is because it lifts you up. So you're kind of halfway up in that shoe. And if I have the actual sole lift that goes underneath the shoe, I have to be careful because sometimes I'll end up tripping. I'll lose my balance. So I rather deal with the lift than my shoe. But some of my tennis shoes, I cannot do the lift because it's so high up that half of my foot is already sticking out of the shoe. But that's one thing about it is it's like sometimes we have to do that, go through that stuff. But I'm looking forward to this journey. It's a new phase and see how fast or how I heal on Carnivore. And I know that they're going to prescribe me with pain medicine. I am not going to take those pain medicines. I'll have them, but I'm not going to take them. I'm going to try to do without them because some of those things are so addicting, and that's one thing I do not want to have. I don't want to be dependent on it. Like I haven't took ibuprofen for almost 2 years now. I used to take it quite a bit right at the end, but when I went Carnivore, that stuff started going away. I mean, I walked all day downtown Nashville, like within less than 30 days on Carnivore, and I felt great. It was very mild pain, but I think a lot of it is because I'm off balance, and like one leg, my left leg is like when I'm standing, my right leg can be standing, I'm be staying straight up and down, but my left leg, I have a bend in the knee. Like something is a little bit longer than the other. And I don't know, maybe I do have a physical leg discrepancy. That one leg is shorter than the other, and it's what's causing it. But regardless, sometimes we have to get, a replacement hip or something because of damage, but sometimes that we may not need it. So I'm right there at that. And as Rick says, and yes, 100%, he said his mom had arthritis at his age where he's at now. And then best thing I did 2 years ago, Red Wing store made me custom insoles. I wear my steel toe work boots like tennis shoes. Your feet is the foundation. Absolutely. That's one thing about it is your feet is very important. It is your foundation. And if your foundation is off, you are going to be unlevel and you're going to deal with this issue, that issue, all the way up to your head. Well, it is 4:03. I felt that this was a great live. Thank you for coming by today. I know next live we have is with Doug and Juliet at 4:45 Central, 5:45 Eastern time. Everybody, I go over there and support them. And like always, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. Y'all have a great day, and God bless. And as Jerry says, thank you for having us. It is my pleasure. I'm glad you all stopped by today. And it is time to go to the next live. So y'all have a great day. I will not have a live next Sunday, April 19th, because I will be on call for work. And even though a lot of times I don't have any emergencies, that one time that I do a live stream, I will get called right in the middle of it, and I would have to stop it. And so I don't do them. So the next live I have is I will be on Sunday, Carnivore Sunday School, 12 noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Juliet and John, the Carnivore Alpha teacher, and I know George is there. And then my next live stream will be 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, April 26th. Y'all have a great day. And